So here we have it, a quarter-final already, and, well, it should be a lot of fun. Spawning in the lower left-hand position of Overgrowth, we have the Red Terran playing for Alien Invasion. It's strelok. And his opponent, spawning to the top right, the Orange Zerg playing for Team Acer, none other than Bly. So, both of these two, awesome guys. I haven't actually seen strelok play in what seems like a long time. He always used to be taking part in Go For events, like literally all the damn time. But now, for some reason, he doesn't seem to be anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But he's here now, which is good. Meanwhile, Bly, well, he was in the Foreign Hope. He did very solid there. Really close tournament. Of course, anyone wondering, the Foreign Hope Grand Finals are occurring tomorrow night at 7 PM Central European Summertime. So, just go and check that. I also really think that summertime time zone is coming to an end at some point soon. It's dark outside already. It's only like, what, 20 past 7 my time? But it's been dark since like 4 o'clock. It's just hideous. Hideous. Anyway, waiting to see what these two are doing. It's going to be a Reaper opening coming from strelok, so perfectly normal. Meanwhile, Bly, he's actually switching it up, going for a spawning pool first. Now, this isn't standard in any way, shape, or form up against Terran. As we all know, Zerg players usually go 15 hatch up against Terran. It's perfectly safe to open hatchery first against them. So, I'm interested to see the fact that Bly not going for that, instead going pool hatch, playing it a little bit safer. This does give him some advantages. Namely, he gets a queen out sooner for extra defensive capability, and also, obviously, for the inject, he can get Zerglings sooner, and if he was getting gas, he could have got speed quicker. The drawback, though, is, obviously, you get the later natural hatchery, so you get a slightly worse economy, although it's only very, very marginal, because the queen makes up for the slightly later hatch due to the inject. You get those 4 lava after 40 seconds once the queen's injected, so that actually starts making up for it pretty well. Anyway, strelok coming in with this little SCV. Now, of course, there is a Reaper in production. Bly sees something very important. That's the lack of the natural base. Sees it coming down, the timing of that. Also sees the Reaper coming on out. So, he now knows two things. Firstly, that it wasn't a CC first. Duh. But because he sees the command center coming down, he also can be pretty confident that this isn't something really funky like 2 racks Reaper rush or something weird like that. I can't think of anything more weird than it could be, but he knows that he's relatively safe. Also now gets a real money scout. Sees the fact that the reactor's coming down after just 1 Reaper. So this into itself is also another big giveaway. You can see 2, maybe even 3 Reapers up against Zerg players before they switch into that Hellion production. So Bly really getting a good early game scout, good early game information, and knows precisely what his opponent's all about and what strelok's going to be trying to throw at him. What's the response to that? A Roach Warren. Roach Warrens, of course, great up against Hellions, great up against Reapers, just really solidly bolstering the defense. It's quite early, this Roach Warren, actually. A little bit earlier than you generally see it. But the advantage of that means that Bly, he can obviously look to start producing a couple of Roaches. But I suspect it's going to be more than just a few, because look at that gas build-up. He hasn't started Zergling speed. Even though he's well over 100 gas, he's banking up quite a few minerals. So this is probably going to be a bit of a Roach rush. In comes the Reaper now. Gonna get the scout. This is a really important scout. 3 things were seen that are vital. Firstly, the Roach Warren. Secondly, the fact that there's still drones and gas. And thirdly, that the spawning pool is not shimmering away to itself. That screams Roaches are coming, and lots of them. This Reaper will die. The drones get the kill. Which drone was it? That was the drone. I missed him. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Come back here, drone. Where are you, Mr. Hero? I'm gonna lose. There we go. He's the hero who killed the Reaper. Look at him. He clawed him to death. But yes. Roaches. Roaches, roaches, roaches. This isn't a roach rush, though. He's going up into a lair first. Bly, what are you planning here? Already the reaction from strelok, throwing down a bunker just to be on the safe side. What is the lair for? He's going to get roach speed down, obviously. But what are you doing with all the gas, Bly? What are you doing with it? Why did you get the gas so early? What is your plan? Okay, a couple of roaches are now coming out. 4 of them. 4 is a pretty standard number of roaches. That helps easily deflect up against the Hellions. And that sort of general early push. Nice little scout coming down from Bly. Suiciding in that Overlord. Poor little Overlords. They're slightly special. They don't realise that they're going to their death when they go floating in there. Bless them. But yes. Ooh, strelok going to be going mech. Second factory coming on down. Could also be some kind of weird blue flame style of play, but I doubt it. More likely just straight up mech coming down from him. Couple of Hellions making their way through. They're going to see that that third is really rather late. Not crazy so, but relatively. Also spots the 4 roaches. What may not be known is the fact that the roach warren is coming. I don't think the lair has been seen either, so no, that hasn't been spotted. This is a bit weird, because the scout pattern of the Reaper obviously just didn't get vision there. Tiny little bit of fog of war, so it looks like there's no creep. That it's just kind of randomly not spread where it should have done. That's really amusing. I've never seen that happen before. So yeah, a couple of Hellions just having a pretty bad time. There's already roaches out, so that's never going to end well for them. Bly adding in the double Evo chambers as well as adding in a few more roaches, grabbing an additional gas. So that's taking up to 4 gases at the moment. Looks like Blue Flame is going to be on the card, as well as a couple of tanks moving on across. So I take this all back. This could just be some weird Blue Flame tank style play. Freaky stuff coming on by. With the armory, of course, Hellbats can be morphed. That then makes Hellions far, far more scary. The roaches can have a bit more of a tough time as well, since there are these 2 tanks. Tanks very effective up against roaches. Waiting now to see a little movement. A couple of Marines just bolstering up the damage per second of this army. Tanks deciding to turn and fight this. They're not sieged up. The Hellbats finally now morphing. This also reveals a bit of tech. Blue Flame is a long way off there at the moment. Ooh, nice shell from that tank fire there. Able to do a lot of damage to those roaches. Of course, the roaches now have roach speed. That makes them a lot more scary. And strelok knows it. He runs away. He sends just one Hellbat waddling back. Just saying, is he chasing me? Gonna see nothing. This Hellbat dodging a bullet a bit there. They say never leave a man behind, but they never mention anything about a Hellbat. More roaches still coming on down these 1-1 upgrades. This is a lot of roach production now. 22 of them. This is going to be aggressive from Bly. He doesn't want this game to go on much longer. He doesn't have a follow-up. Note that his third is purely there to be a showman. It's not really doing anything. There's a couple of additional drones coming on through now, but it's a long way off. Tunneling Claws is also coming, which is nice. But this is going to be a very hard assault for Bly because of these 3 tanks. That's a lot of damage. He needs to try and sneak on in. Be interesting to see how he decides to do this. Hellbat Drop gets a decent amount of damage done. 6 workers killed up in the main base of Bly. That's frustrating. A few roaches just kept up there. They see that the roach one is researching something that's important, so we'll reveal that Tunneling Claws is on its way. That's only, of course, if strelok was paying attention to it, though. But still, the fact that you could have seen it is a nice little bit of information. We may see a missile turret get thrown down just to be on the safe side. Otherwise, strelok adding in his 3rd command center, still continuing on with this mech build. Very, very scary stuff. So, what does Bly do now? He's transitioned fully into droning, so this is really awkward for Bly if he doesn't do anything with this army very soon, basically. If he isn't able to achieve something with the Tunneling Claws, he's made 29 roaches, which is a lot of an investment to do nothing, and that's going to hurt. Anyway, couple of shots coming on through. Hellbats again dropping into the 3rd base. They've got Blue Flame, so they're a little bit more scary now. Ooh, the medevac might die, just managing to sneak out there. 15 HP, surviving by the very skin of its teeth. Otherwise, we do have the Hydra Den coming on by. So Roach Hydra, very strong composition up against mech. You don't want to be going Zergling, Baneling. It doesn't really work. This Viking, just pushing back Overlords. Always a nice little addition, grabbing a couple of Vikings. No more coming out as of yet, but should still be able to kill the Overseer. The Roaches, of course, you know they've got Tunneling Claws because they go all spiky. Their Tunneling Claws are on their back. Or so it would seem. Still, just a little bit of positioning of these tanks, of these Hellbats. The tank count is only at 4, actually. There's not more in production. Just a lot of production of Hellbats, which I find quite interesting, actually, because Hellbats aren't hugely effective up against Roaches, so surprised there aren't more tanks. But yeah, there we go. Upon seeing that big Roach swell, which was seen earlier, more tanks are now starting up in production. A couple of our Roaches going to start picking away at this 3rd. Managed to pick off a Mule and a couple of SCVs, but with a very, very high tank count, it's going to be difficult to make anything work. Still, the Roaches actually dishing out a bit of damage. 3 workers killed and that refinery. And picking off the refinery is a big win, because of the fact that, obviously, if you're going mech, you're going to be running into more problems. Great addition of a center tower. This is just really fantastic. You may not be able to see the burrowed units, but gives you a good idea of any movements the Bly tries to make. Missile turret now finished up. That should get focused down first. It'll allow the roaches to retreat if they run into problems, as they do. With tunneling claws, remember, roaches do heal up incredibly quickly. But a raven's now out. Okay. That's frustrating. These roaches are very dead. Bly adding in a 4th, adding in a 5th base as well. So just continuing to macro up. Very, very passive game for the moment. Aside from a little bit of harassment. Neither player really losing particularly many resources. Just gone past the 15-minute mark in game, and the hive already coming on down for Bly. He's going to be looking to go into Viper Tech, looking to both abduct and get blinding clouds. Good little roach push through here, actually, could cause a problem. Strelok is going to have to come back. He needs to bring units, a couple of tanks on their way, but this is a lot of roaches. I'm not sure how effective this is going to be. Obviously, it's going to end up being a bit of a base race, because I don't think there's much back at home. Only a couple of Hydralisks, so Bly definitely needs to achieve a lot of damage. These tanks are going to slowly start working away at these roaches. Great use of, obviously, the wall off. A couple more tanks up in the high ground. Roaches getting picked off. Strelok going for this. Bly's going to be in some trouble because he doesn't have that much there. He's got a couple of Hydralisks, but the third base definitely dead. A couple of roaches still going, but up in the main of Strelok, there's nothing there. The Viper trying to get out, but does get sniped. That's a very frustrating loss. There's still 3 more. So Blinding Cloud's going to become essential in dealing with this force. Trying to negate how effective those tanks can be. In terms of workers lost, obviously a good number picked off, but a base killed. Probably another one as well. Looking at this, Strelok should be able to move down and take out this 4th. Obviously there's this 5th down to the lower right that will stay standing, which should buy a bit more time for Bly. But Bly's economy is going to be hurting when he's got a lot of minerals, but his gas count very, very low. Another quick little scout. Going to be able to take down those 2 roaches. Quite a few of the drones also managing to escape away. Hopefully they'll come back when they get a chance. Strelok, though, he's up by... Well, he's actually exactly equal in the army supply right now, but down in the upgrades. In comes a couple of blinding clouds. These are very important. They stop all of the tanks from firing. This is the opportunity Bly needed. Negating these tanks is absolutely huge. Suddenly the roaches and the Hydralisks can just start marching forward and taking everything down. A lot of Strelok's army getting picked away. This is a great engagement for Bly. Unfortunately, the tank line just seems to be never ending for Strelok. They just keep sweeping back. So while the blinding clouds were numerous and very effective, it's not enough to cover all of the tanks, and therefore Bly has to stop. But it does mean that he's dealt with this push for the moment, and looking at Strelok's base, it's not in the greatest of spots. He's only got 29 SCVs, and sure, there are mules, but his problem isn't really in minerals. It's in gas when you're going mech. He needs that gas income, and so he's going to be very, very stuck economically. Bly, on the other hand, sure, he lost his 3rd, but his 4th stayed standing, and his 5th did as well. So he's actually still a base up on his opponent, soon to be 2 bases up, and his drone count is very, very solid. So he's in a beautiful position overall. Strelok, though, still not broken. Upgrade lead will start to dissipate. It's now 2-1 up against 2-0 in favor of Bly. The important thing for Bly is to start his 3-3 or 3-2 very, very quickly. He does have Hive Tech, so needs to get those additional upgrades coming on through. Strelok, really hurting now. Bly, with those blinding clouds, may have won himself the game right there. It's going to be so difficult for Strelok at the moment. The Viper count is only at 3 currently. A couple more SCVs getting picked off. Nice little further amount of harassment. Sure, a couple of SCVs for a couple of roaches isn't ideal, but there's also some getting picked off at the natural base as well. So what this is doing is forcing Strelok to try and be in multiple places at once when his army is half the supply that of Bly's. Bly now going up against that Thor. Thors aren't actually that strong against roaches as a whole. You'd think they would be, but no. Thors do struggle with large roach numbers. These Vipers, integral to any success this push will have. Good spread on the tanks. Still waiting to see where we get Bly decide to go. He might actually just push in here. He sees the tanks on siege. We'll take down one of them. Should be able to grab the 2nd as well. Couple more blinding clouds. That one just a little bit off the money. Means that unfortunately some of those tanks not going to get taken out. But most of them now dead and gone as this push continues. There's just such a volume of Zerg here. The tank's still in a nice spot. The Vipers will get taken out, but reinforcements being picked off by a small cluster of Roaches. Seeker Missile goes on a Hydralisk, but Bly with great control pulls it away. There's the GG, and Bly will take game number 1 of this best of 3 after 21 minutes.